For Wednesday morning. The weather has been actually quite good today, and I even managed to do a cheeky little gardening this evening and before I came light. So how are we doing? Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been creating, what you've been making over the last week. I have been sitting here for the last 10 minutes and sort of thinking, what shall we do tonight? Because I got so many stuff kind of like on a mental list I want to do and I want to try and I want to work with. I think because spring is sort of like really on us now and all the flowers are coming up, I kind of fancy doing something flowery. So I was thinking maybe ginkgo beads, and we turn them into maybe little flower earrings or pendant, or maybe just have a little play with them, how we can sort of create maybe 6 beads together and put, or 5 beads, or how many ever beads, and put things in between and then make them look really nice. So I'm going to turn you down. I'm going to show you, I have a play with, where we go, there we are. So I had a play with last week's live, what we've been doing. Oops, that's the bracelet for the Bead Club today. So I had a play with these ones and I kind of sort of figured it out. It needed more because we went out. What's happened with this? Let me just move this camera over. We went out on every 3rd bead and they weren't enough. And then once I went all the way around and I did the back of it, I realized there is a couple of places we need to infill, so we have like a nice fuller finish. I really do love this one. So that was the beads I was working with, and then I kind of went back and I'm gonna do a few bits. We're gonna do this in Bead Club next week. I've worked out all the sizes and we're gonna connect them together for a bracelet, pendant, necklace, whichever we want to do. But kind of like went with different colors. I have chosen in the end to use hematite beads themselves. So the 3mm beads are not pearls, but they are hematite because they give the same finish as the cabochon. It's loads of if you're going to do flowers, we kind of need some purpley color. I reckon let's go with the purpley color if we're gonna do flowers. I love purple flowers. I'm just gonna grab some seed beads as well. So the idea I kind of been toying with is to have them going in a circle, because I think they got the beautiful petal shape. So we could use like Amos beads, which are like little drops, really 2-hole drops, and I have made a pendant with that one, a flowery pendant with before, but I'm just wondering how could we do a little flowery pendant with these beads, how we can add them together. Maybe we need something in the middle. Maybe what could we have? Maybe super jewels, they're quite small. Let me grab some super jewels as well. I had a little bit of a sort of tidy around here. Well, I've been tidying around for the last week or so. Now I can't find anything, but I moved the super jewels just behind me. Do we want a light one or do we want a dark color to go with? I think that light one matches the color better. And then I'm just going to grab some size 11 seed beads, and then we see if we need to go down to size 15 or the size 11 will be good enough. Let's go with that, or we could go lighter one. Lighter color or darker color. I think that's, or maybe this color. I'm gonna go with a more muted color, so then the ginkgo beads themselves gonna stand out even more. Sometimes they can overpower each other, the colors themselves, so sometimes it's good to go with a more muted color if you want the other beads what we're featuring to stand out. So I'm gonna start with, I'm going to have to start with the super jewels. So I'm going to stitch, shall we have a 5 petal or a 6 petal one? Do let me know. And I'm quickly going to come and say hello as well before I start stitching. But that's kind of the plan for tonight. Good evening, David. Nice to see you here. Barbara, good evening. Christine, good evening. Hi there, so excited to be here. As usual, my favorite Wednesday in California. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. I love that people get to join from all over the world. This is what I love about YouTube, that you could be anywhere and you can still be a part of something across the world. And I so appreciate every single one of you. I'm I'm so glad that people can join in. Right, okay, so I'm gonna start with I'm gonna sew together 6 super jewels, and I'm not even gonna add any beads or anything in between because the middle I want quite small. We might have to cover it up with a pearl on either side because I suspect like we're gonna end up with a tiny gap in between. Let me just zoom in and excuse my nails. I was supposed to have them done yesterday, but I phoned up too late and all the appointments went gone and I was like, no, but never mind. So there we go. So I went around one more time. I'm not gonna knot my tail end and my working end together because I want to be able to leave this to kind of be able to expand if I need to, because I don't know the thread path there. So we kind of like gonna go up and down there. We might need, do we need a seed bead? I think we might need a seed bead in between just to kind of give it that bit of a lift, or maybe not. Do we need a seed bead? I'm gonna try it without a seed bead first, and then we can try it with a seed bead and see what happens. 6 petal piece, Barbara says. Yeah, I kind of like, for me, I like when they are even like 6 or 8 as well. I'm also gonna just pop around one more time so I got a nice solid base, but I'm not knotting my tail end and my working thread together so it can expand if it needs to. Right, so I'm going to turn around because I want to get to the outer holes on these super duos. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to go through from the inner side to the outer side of this gem duo. I'm talking rubbish tonight. Ginkgo bead. I don't know, sometimes I have days when I just kind of like, you know, like I have it with the children as well, or even like I sometimes I say it to the dog as well, that I say Roxy to Lucy and Lucy to Roxy. It's like I call it a brain freeze day. I'm gonna pick up 3 seed beads, come around the other side and go into the next super duo and pull that up, and I'm going to repeat the process. So 1 ginkgo, 3 seed beads, taking this down, coming out in the other hole and through there. I'm liking this already. It has got a good feel about it, how those beads are sitting together. 1, 2, 3, going down and then coming through. Again, picking up from the inner side. So ginkgo beads, you can, it's when I first seen these beads, it was so funny because they look like bicycle seats to me. That's what they remind me. But they do have, because they got the curved side, sort of concave, curved side on them, that kind of fit together. I think this looks really nice. And another one, 1, 2, 3 seed beads, and we just have to work out what sort of beads we want to add on where, or what else, how we want to expand it. And the last one, picking up the ginkgo, 3 seed beads, and then going down. I need to go through this super duo, so I'm going to pop this down. So that's kind of our first row. How would it look if we then somehow added another row behind? I'm just not sure, like if they tilted, because they could tilt a little bit like petals, and we could add another row behind, but I'm not sure about the seed beads on the top. Maybe if you used microcrystals instead of the seed beads, they would be quite pretty. So I will try that on another, where Where is my micro crystals gone? There they are. I will try that on another one, because I think that would look really good, because we could make a larger pendant and we could have, like, you know, maybe 2, 3 or even 4 layers going round and round and round. Right, so I just need a purpley colour one. Have I got one here, or do I need to go and search? This is the only purple I have here, and I think that's not really the right kind of shade, is it? So I'm gonna grab, that's pink. I'm gonna grab the tray out, because I got some here, or this color perhaps. That might not be too bad, so I'm going to leave that on the side, and I'm just going to have a look quickly, because I want something a little bit more purpley color. Oh, this one maybe. This dragonfly color. It's got sort of more purple on. That one is more rainbow. This one is more a dragonfly color, so I think perhaps that one will look really nice. It's going to give like a darker edge to it. So also I just caught it from the corner of my eye. There's a purple one there as well. I have to be very careful with my chair, because Roxy is right down next to me now. She doesn't really need to go into her crate anymore. She's a good girl, but she comes and sort of puts her head like right next to the wheel of my chair. Or this one, maybe this one, but let's try this one. We can try both. So I'm gonna have a look. So there we go. If we had another one behind, where would that hook into? Where would that hook into? So I imagine this is the back of it. Where could we hook it into? We can't hook into the same place, so we need to, we could pick up maybe 2 seed beads, add it on there and add it back, and then go along, but we still need to connect them somehow. Yeah, I'm just gonna try one thing before I go on and start a new one. So how could we add a second row onto this one? And I am just coming through this super jewel here. If I pick up a couple of seed beads and I keep wanting to say gem duo and they ginkgo beads. Maybe we should have had a little play with gem duos, or maybe we should use gem duos in the middle. I'm gonna pick up, so you're gonna test the microcrystal as well. 1, 2, 3. Go back on the other side. Pull this nice and tight. And then I'm going to pick up a couple of seed beads, maybe 1 seed bead would have been enough. And I'm going to go through the same super jewel from the other side. And I know this is going to flip-flop about, but we can secure this down later. So let's have a look. That will end up sort of just there. And that will push these up a little bit as well. I think the microcrystals look really, really nice on it. Gives it that little bit of sparkle, a little bit of peak. Maybe we could even go the having a microcrystal, like maybe a larger crystal or a pearl in the middle, so kind of like creating a point as well. That would look quite good as well. So if we did this, but I need to go up. So I'm going to have to add this at the same time as we're adding the other row, because otherwise I still need to come in these beads and add them. Needs to go through them one more time. So you could add it at the same time, the first and the second row. I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads. ginkgo, 3 microcrystals, 1, 2, 3. They were like jumping away from me. Reminds me of the fleur pendant. Yes, we did the fleur pendant, and that was with the Amos beads. And I really, really love that one. I really love designing that one. I think when it comes to spring, like you just sort of want to do flowers and flower bits. And there we go. So we got 2 now. And they could kind of like sit there. And then keep on going around. Right, I'm going to start a new one because I don't really want the seed beads on the front of it, and I'm going to add those at the same time, because if you add them at the same time, these are still going to flip-flop. Well, what we can do afterwards is to connect them up with where the seed beads are. So if we'd come up and just add, or I'm just going to sort of turn around here. You could add another one on even behind. So if we come out in that, I'm going to pick up another one. 3 of these crystals. 1, 2, 3. And then we would have 3 layers of petals. And then go back and into the seed beads on the next one. So how will that fit? Again, we're going to have something else behind, I think, but then it's going to make these sort of stand up even more. We need to have a look at it with the crystal, how it's going to look like with the crystal, but I think it might just be all right. But at the end, again, then we will have a problem with this one flip-flopping, so we'll have to come back and add a I'm just going to stitch here, back here, or maybe, how about if I picked up 1, 2 seed bead, stitched in here, just like that, so giving a support at the back, and then picking up 3, 1, 2, 3, then stitching down in the 2. I mean, this would make an amazing brooch as well, I think. So we will have like a seed bead, and now it's not flipping flopping because we are supporting it with those seed beads, but they kinda, we're gonna have to work another way out so they work. I think that would look quite good, sort of having layers in it. This looks lovely, Lorena's thing. Thank you. The fleur pendant got my eye on buying that. Yeah, the fleur is really nice. I don't even know like how many colors we got. I should actually do that as a live again at some point, because we haven't. I don't know. I'll have a look at it. I don't know when I'm in next. I think it's going to be next week, but I'm going to have a look what colors, or if we can make up some new colorways for that one. Good evening, Jen. It's nice to see you as well. Right, okay, Gail says looks cute. Okay, so I'm going to start a new thread, and I am going to start again. I'm not going to use the seed beads. I'm going to use the crystals at the top, because these seed beads are just really, for me, they just look like really odd on the top. Like they, maybe if you use size 15s, they would be more delicate, but I think maybe the microcrystals just give that little bit of sparkle. So I just want to have a look. How would that look? And we will add the first row and the second row at the same time, and then see what happens then. So length of thread, I'm going to need a few more of these beads and a few more of these as well. Just take it off. Right, so starting 6 of the super duos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, Barbara, Brenda's saying every time I wear the fleur pendant, it gets so many likes. It is. I love that. I love making. So I think it's so beautiful trying to replicate flowers with or anything in nature. Like, you know, I love my firework trees as well, and you know, anything flowers. I think they look so good made up in any sort of form. It could be firework, it could be stitched. It's really, I just love it. So I'm gonna go around a couple of times. We didn't need the seed bead at the bottom, did we? That was like a good call. 1, 2. There we go. And just go through the next 2 some away from the tails. I've been through 3 times and I think so it should be secure enough. Christine saying that would be a great to do as a live. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I'll put you on the list. We got so much things happening and going on, and we sort of chopping, changing things, and oh, Laura is coming on board. That was so great. So we will be doing so many different things. Right, so as I'm coming out of there, I'm gonna go in and into the next one. And before I add the next one on, I'm gonna add the back. Just bringing it back for a sec. Do I need, no, I don't want to be one in. I think 2 seed beads is kind of just giving the right shape there. So picking up 2 seed beads, a ginkgo, 3 of the crystals, 1, 2, 3. They're sort of rolling around my mat. And then we kind of have to make sure that these end up at the back. So when I pick up, I'm gonna pull this up nice and tight. Another 2 seed beads, 1, 2, and I'm gonna stitch from the back. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add the next one to the front. So I'm just going to pick up a ginkgo and 3 crystals, 1, 2, 3. Take these down, come through the other hole, pull this right down, and then I'm gonna come through. Come on, don't run away. Next super duo, just like that. There we go. Make sure it ends up on the front. I think certainly it was easier just adding the front first and then perhaps adding the back, but we keep going backwards and forwards on ourselves. So 2 seeds. Three crystals, going back on the ginkgo, so I want this to sort of go to the back, come through the super duo again, and then I'm adding the next one to the front. I definitely like the crystals better than the seed beads. What do you think? Through the other hole, and in the same one I can come through. I think it changed, sort of was holding it the other way earlier. Let's have a look. How does that sitting? Will it let it sit nicely, or the seed bead is behind it? Adding the seed bead one, so 2 seed bead ginkgo is definitely more fiddly. Adding it at the same time, it saves time because you don't have to go through the beads again, but it's definitely more fiddly, or maybe I just have to get used to how to hold it so it's nice and tight finish at the same time. And I'm sort of progressing in one direction. Brenda is saying, you know how much I love microcrystals. Microcrystals are great. I think that, you know, they're so nice and small. They're sort of a size of a size 11 seed beads, just maybe a tiny bit bigger than size 11 seed beads in terms of, like, you know, usage. They have got probably just as big a hole as a size 11 seed bead. So with a size 10 needle, I could go through it, I think, about 4 times. Size 11 needle, I can go through it probably about 5 or 6 times. So they're really great. However, because they're faceted, when you have to pick them up, like, you keep rolling and rolling them around on your mat because you kind of can't see the hole sometimes, and especially if the crystal is very similar color to your mat, it can be tricky. So you could change the color of your mat. I just sort of like I just keep rolling them around until I kind of like see a bigger sparkle come to my attention, and I know that's the hole in there. It's because of the facets on there. Right, almost all the way around. I think the front one again. So again, 1, 2, 3 crystals. I do love using them. I think they give it a nice little detail in anything you do. Love the microcrystal. Unable to find them anywhere in the US. Christine, we do ship to the US, so do have a look, because we do ship. So I don't know, like, shipping rates and everything is depending on obviously how heavy the parcel is, but we do ship to the States. Right, so 3 microcrystals. 1, 2, 3. Coming back through here. 2 seed beads. Coming through the super duo. I think that's kind of like coming together quite nicely. And then adding the last front piece. 1, 2, 3. And then I need to add 1 more to the back. So I'm gonna try to stitch to the back. Hold this up nice and just want to make sure this is nice and tight. And then I'm gonna turn my beading over. I wonder. I got another idea, that we then don't have to go in if we stitch those together. So adding the last back piece, and I just had an idea that what if we stitch them together in a way so we don't have to come pushing this down. 1, 2 seed beads coming through the last super duo. Right, I'm going to turn around. Ended up on the wrong side. Let's push it to the back. There we go. I quite like that, but I do think it's quite pretty. What do you think? Let me know. We do need to stabilize this somehow so it doesn't sort of flip-flop and come doesn't sort of come front and the back ones doesn't come to the front. So there's a couple of things we could do. We could add a crystal or a seed bead in between the petals there, sort of on the top of the super jewel. I think that would look good because that will bring those crystals towards the middle as well. Or we could look to add something else. I'm just going to turn around and have a look what can we add on the top and the bottom. So if we add something on the bottom, it's definitely going to push them out a bit more, or do we just connect them up sort of there? So as I'm coming out of that super duo, if I just went up in the seed beads, and if I just picked up 3 seed beads, I'm not going to add another ginkgo, I'm just going to pick up 3 seed beads. If I go down on the next one and then just scoot it along, come up on the next one, so kind of like stitching them together, picked up another 3, 1, 2, 3, scoot it down on this one, through the super duo and up, and that's kind of like stopping it, but will it stop it enough? That's the question. Roxy's dreaming, I suppose, because her little legs are going. I love it. Sometimes when she's dreaming, she doesn't really bark, but like it's like, I don't know, she's like talks in her sleep. It's so funny. I actually videoed her the other day. She's very, very sweet. Right, so I'm almost all the way around. I'm quite liking the feel of this as well. Sometimes when you're making something, bracelet, necklace, or just a pattern, or just sort of playing around with it, you can feel it, that if it's buckling, or like if it's too tight, or if it's too loose, it's kind of like doesn't want to pull together. But sometimes if you have it in your hand, I didn't come through those 2 seed beads. Sometimes if you have it in your hand, sometimes it just feels right, and this one has just got a nice feel to it. So when the beads fit together nicely, sometimes you just have this nice feel about it. And coming up here, picking up another 3, 1, 2, 3, coming down. Just going to go through those 2 seed beads, and I'm going to turn around and have a look. Yeah, they're definitely, like, see, it's not flipping about now, so definitely done it. I think this would look really nice even on a necklace as well, like if you made more than one of them and we linked them up. I'm just gonna bring this half done in, but I think that would look really nice, even just the middle of a bracelet, because we could stem off from any of these seed beads, or we could link them by those seed beads, so we could link them together just like that. I think that would look really good. I am just wondering what to do with this. So if I just want to stitch, and perhaps, do we want to add a pearl or something in the middle? Do we want to add a small, have I got 4 mil? Now this one is off the stand, so I'm just going to grab out 1 bead of this one. It probably needs a slightly bit different color. Do we want to add a pearl in the middle, or we don't? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? If we should add a pearl in the middle of the middle of our flower, I think it looks nice with the pearl, but I think it looks nice without the pearl as well. So pearl or no pearl? Pearl or no pearl? Let me know, what do you think? I just want to see, I just want to add an extra crystal in there. So I'm going to stitch, I'm going to go through the super jewellery, and I'm gonna bring it to the front. Just make sure I don't get caught on the thread. What I really want to do is to see if I can add. I'm gonna have to go around it again. That's the, or maybe if we did the first row first, then we did the second row. As we're doing the second row, we could, but no, because you have to be in the ginkgo, so you have to go around it again, no matter what. We could also kind of connect up the crystals here. So instead of adding a crystal in there, I could just come through these three, and let me just pick it up, because that actually might look quite sweet as well. So as I'm coming out, this tail is not on the back. Usually I have the tail on the back. As I'm coming out there, if I pick up 3 more microcrystals, 1, 2, 3, and then just jump to the next one, how would that look? How would that look if we just connect it? And we could connect the back ones up as well if we wanted to. Does that pull it together too much, or what do we think? Does that look nice on the outside of it? I'm going to add another section in. You could keep going and adding rows upon rows on a pattern like this. 1, 2, come on, 3, and going into the next one. So I think that does look quite nice, but it kind of corners it a bit. So we need that to sit. Maybe 2. Would 2 be? If you just had 2, I think it would pull it up. If you just add 2, it would pull the petals up slightly. So that could be something to consider too. Just add 2. I'm just going to add 2 on the next one and see how much it pulls it together. Because if that then pulls that up, they're just going to look like we have got like a row of crystals around the petals, and I think that could look quite pretty as well, especially if you went for a darker color. It's just going to look like sort of the flowers got darker edge. So that's with 2. So if I pull this, yeah, it slightly pulls it up. The 2 is better than the 3. The 3 is slightly buckling or sort of so straight, but this one is pulls it together. Let me just add the next one in as a 2. Because sometimes what can happen that we kind of have a look, oh yes, the 2 is enough, but it's only pulled the ginkgo bead to one side. So when you want to try out that 2 or 3 is going to be better, you kind of need to do more than one side, so you can truly see it. Because it's always between 3 sections or 3 beads or 3 petals, you're going to see the true size coming together, where on both sides you got 2. I mean, we could add 2 to one and 3 to another. If it's like, yes, he's cupping it up quite a bit, cupping those petals forward. It doesn't look, it looks quite sweet, but then if we do that, do we want to perhaps cup these ones up as well? So if maybe if we added 2 on here and 3 on the back one, and they would be pulled up as well. Or what do you think? Brenda's saying no pearl. Okay, noted. No pearl. Think you are right. Both look great. But it's a beautiful pendant, Kitty, and like with a pearl. So I'm not sure about adding these on the end. I would have to try it out with a different color as well, to see. I don't really want it to stand up that much, to be honest. I think I'd rather sort of push it down and have it. And if I pull this, it's gonna like sort of create a cup. It would be a perfect sort of shape to then have a rivoli on it if you wanted to, because it's sort of taking that shape of a rivoli. So you could put a large rivoli and sort of add little netting on the side of it, but then I would probably use seed beads rather than the crystals if I wanted to add a riveling in the middle. So that could be a possibility as well. There's so many things you could do. The possibility is endless, really. So yeah, doing the twos, it almost makes it kind of stand it up. But then, if that stands up, then we have the space behind to add these on, to kind of fill those gaps. Where would we add those? So if you make those stand up, but we want to add it there, so we could do it one, come out of one, and then add it on. Come out of one and add it on, maybe. So I want this to kind of like sit in there so I can vision it. Where would it go, or where would I want it to go? I think it would be nice, but then wouldn't this have to sit behind those rather than in front of it? Wouldn't look nice better right at the back? Then we didn't need those seed beads on just yet. Do we need an extra row, or do you think the 2 rows enough? I really do want the front more flatter. I think the flatter the front is, I think the better it looks. What do you think? Let me know. So I think the 2 is gonna be 2. I'm gonna take the 2s out, put 3s in all the way around, and then we see what happens then. And this last section. Sometimes you do the right number at the beginning for the first try, and then you go along and change all sorts of different tries, and only at the end you go back to the first try, what you tried in the first time. So 1, 2, 3. Going through the next one. 1, 2, 3. Going through the next lot. Yeah, the threes are better. The 2s were good in theory, but it made it stand up too much. 1, 2. But you don't know these things until you try it. That's the thing. You just have to sit down and kind of have a little play and try it. Otherwise, you never know. So what you lot have you been up for the last week? Let me know what you've been making. In the UK, this weekend coming, we got bank holiday, so we're gonna have a 3-day weekend, and then the weekend after we got another 3-day weekend. So loads of time for beading and doing all sorts of stuff. Right, I like the 3s. Now, shall I go to the back row and do the same on the back row and just leave it like that? Or are we going to add something extra on it? Let me know in the chat what would you like me to do. Shall I just join up these at the back as well? Or are we going to leave it like that? I think if we join the front, we should join the back as well, just to make it kind of like even around it. But then we're going to use so I'm going to go in on the next one. So go through all 3, following my thread path in, and then I'm gonna go through the super duo, and I'm gonna stitch to the back. Make sure I go through the right hole. And there we're gonna need to, oops, the needles keep coming out. Have to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. So what shall we do? I'm going to try it. So I'm going to go up into, but then we could do like the front, add the crystals, and then come to the back and then do the back. So we don't have to go back and front. So once you work out, so if I had 3 there, I reckon I need at least 4, if not 5 bead at the back, maybe 5. I need a few more beads of the strand. I'm going to put 4 on and I'm going to take them down. But also with micro crystals, depending on like what machine they done it on, they could be a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. Now that's 4. I think we need 5 because otherwise it's going to be pulling it together. But then if that pulls up a bit at the back, is that much of a... No, I'm going to do 5. So we did 3 there on the front. I'm going to do 5 here and see what happens. It's better to use when you're filling in gaps like this. I like to use uneven numbers than even numbers because then you always have like a sort of a middle point. I only use even numbers if it's absolutely necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and going through the next bit. I think it looks nice to adding it on the back. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and going up. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then going through these ones. I got a couple more sections. I don't know if I would prefer something in the middle or not. I'm just looking at it, maybe. But if we had, maybe you want a pearl, not, maybe the pearl will stand out too much. So how about something, what can we use? What can we use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What can we use in the middle to try out? Come on, I need ideas. Let me know. What shall we put in the middle? Brenda is saying she's been going through her odds today. Odd box. Today I made a dozen pairs of earrings. Oh, this is the thing. When you're sort of trying to clear out, and and I always do that. I try to clear out and tidy up, and I get... Did I only pick up 4? Or is there 5? What did I do? I got a little knot on my thread had enough. And she said, no, I'm going to put a knot on for you. Is that 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost the one. I'm going to stitch back through the last one. Hoping I didn't cross the thread. Because then I'm going to have to yeah, I stitched through it. Now I have to take my needle off. Always try it first just to sort of see if I can stitch back in a bead. But honestly, 8 times, 9 times out of the 10, you can't because you stitch through the thread. Right, so going through the last, oh no, 4, I need 1 more. 5, and then going through the last section. There we go. So that's the front and the back. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this tail off, and I'm gonna send it to the back because it's kind of like distracting me on the front. There we go. What do we think? Let me know in the chat if you is there anything else we could do? Kind of like you want to pull those in. Ah, I know what we should have done. I know what we should have done. We should have picked up 2 crystals and then sew into the middle crystal on the top row, and then see they kind of like matching up, and then 2 crystals sew through the 3, 2 crystals in the middle, and then that would have bind the 2 row together. I think that's what we should have done. I might actually quickly take it back and do that, because that will kind of pull it all together, pull the layers together, because at the moment they sort of can be flipping. But if we did that, so I'm gonna be reverse stitching one more time. I'm determined to finish this now. I'm gonna take these off and see, like, you go all the way around and then you have an idea, and and you're taking it slightly back and then starting again. And this is the beauty. I love this. I love doing this. But as I always say, you couldn't drive a car just forward. Sometimes you have to reverse. So this is me reversing. Right, putting those to the side. So what I think will work very well, and pull the whole thing together. And threading my needle back in. So if I just pick up 2, then I'm going to seek out the middle one on this row. And can I stitch through this again? I don't know how many times we've been through them. I think a couple of times. I just used my nylon joes to pull the needle through, because I have I have put some nail oil on my nails before we started, and that's kind of like makes your fingers a little bit slippery sometimes, so it's harder to pull the needle through. Right, and then going to the back. So now I'm binding the back with the front. But then that middle, if that was a bigger crystal there, that would look quite good as well, I think. If that middle bead on the very first row, because then that would be a pearl, that would be like a crossover bead. I'll be adding the rest of the crystals on top. And then crossing to the back. So I'm always just picking up 2, going through the 3 at the back, picking up 2, one, come on, 2, gonna go into the middle, one, 2, and then another one, 2, into the middle, maybe a small faceted crystal in the middle, so a tricot. Kristen is saying, I'm not sure what you mean about a tricot. That looks beautiful, good to go. We'll check later how it finishes. Good evening, Lorraine, enjoy yourself, lovely. Right, okay, so another 2 bead, going, oh no, not the middle one, I need to go through all 3 at the back, 1, 2, 3, picking up a single one into the middle, picking up 2 more into the back. I think it was worth to take it back, because I think it looks really nice. Ooh, and if we had another row, we could then bind that row to the middle of the middle crystal on the second row, but I think then we would definitely have to use something different for that middle bead so we can very easily identify it. Might try. Oh, I totally missed out. I was like, oh, job well done, I'm doing the last stitch, and I didn't. Is it gonna come? No. Taking needle off, stitch through it again. I think that looks rather nice, rather pleasing to the eye. I could imagine quite a few on a necklace stitched together, or maybe even doing like a peyote stitch base, just a simple peyote stitch with maybe even size 8 beads, so it's kind of like grows quickly, and then you could have maybe 2-3 flowers of this one, even on the bracelet as well. So with the bracelet wise, so if I just grab where is the bracelet when you need it? I'm just gonna grab this bracelet. So imagine this is all peyote stitched bracelet, and we could just have like, you know, a couple here and there stitched onto the top of it, and then we could also like add other extra bits of pieces, pearls, so use this as a component on a top of a bracelet. I really like that. I like how that kind of pulled, the crystals pulled together there. So I could add an extra row. I've put it in an extra row, which I would have wanted perhaps to come out just there. But if the more rows we add for a pendant, it would look really good. Let me just get a few more out. For a pendant, it would look really good. But I think for brace, or maybe you wouldn't want, like if you added another one or maybe even two or three rows, we could keep on going, but then you wouldn't want to have you wouldn't want to have it like on a bracelet. I think it would be too big. So that's like if I had row 3 and then row 4 would come there. Come on, where's my needle? And just straighten them up. So it would get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think there is definitely worth to think about adding another row in. We could build it up so much. But I think the 2 is kind of quite nice as well. Just the 2 rows. Used to be a triple bead added with one on top of the other 2. Oh, peacock, tricot. Yeah, I know. I got it. Thank you. I think that's I really, really like this. I'm going to play around with this week again and then see what I can come up with it. But I think this would make such a nice, which side you can see better, such a nice little brooch as well. Or anything, just like adding is a little decoration. And I'm gonna have a look at different variations. What I don't know where the formula with the pearl gone, what we can put in the middle, but I do think we need something in the middle just to kind of finish it off. But I don't want to add something too big because I don't want to cover up. I think the super jewel is a kind of like nice crucial part in the middle to start the whole thing off. Right, okay, cool. So that's it for me today. I'm gonna be back next Wednesday. Also, I am on totally next Wednesday morning doing flat spirals and BeadClub tomorrow. I'm in a BeadClub tomorrow. At the moment, like I just don't know what day it is, what day of the week it is, and I got quite a lot of things going on, like personally, and sorting things out and doing bits and pieces. And it's just like, I don't know, just like, I don't know what day of the week is. But I will be back next Wednesday. So everybody have a beautiful weekend. If you're in the UK and you are having your bank holiday, then enjoy your bank holiday. And I will see you very soon. I have a play around with this week, and I will show you next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for turning up and joining me. I really enjoyed